Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullahi ve Berekatühü. Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart,
Allah'a sonsuz hamd ve şükrederiz.
I thank and praise Allah Ta'ala countless times that one more time we are all together at another discourse to talk about Allah Ta'ala.
Allah Teala insan adı verilen bu mahlukuna sadece ona ruhundan üfürmek üzere.
Allah Ta'ala blessed only human beings, blowing into them from His own spirit.
İnsan Allah'a en yakın mahluktur.
Therefore the human being is the closest creature to Allah.
Sevgili kardeşlerim, hepimiz
My dear brothers and sisters,
halk edildik.
we are all created.
Allah Teala tarafından insan yaratıldı, halk edildi.
Human being was created by Allah Himself.
Çocuklar,
After the first man, his children, then their children, then their children,
yaşadılar.
they kept living for centuries.
Bu devrede de bizler hayattayız.
And during this time, we are living.
Yaşamak Allah Teala'nın standartları içinde mutlu olmak hedefine
Within the standards of Allah, to live should be based on happiness and joy.
hiçbir şekilde mümkün değil.
Yet, happiness and joy without Allah is never a possibility.
Mutluluk dediğimiz zaman bir insanın ayaktayken, otururken ve yatarken
When we say happiness and joy,
mutluluğu
the individual should be happy when he is standing, sitting, or when he is sleeping even.
tezkiyesine
And that is only based on cleansing and purification of the soul.
ikinci bir yol mevcut değil sevgili
There
kardeşlerim.
is no second way to it, my dear brothers and sisters.
Allah ile beraber olmadıkça,
Without being with Allah,
yaklaşmadıkça,
without getting closer to Allah,
Allah'a teslim olmadıkça
without being submitted to Allah,
yaşanması
happiness cannot be experienced.
ne yaparsanız yapın mümkün.
Doesn't matter what you do, without that you cannot have happiness nor joy.
Allah'ın devrede olmadığı bir mutluluk düşünülemez.
Nobody can consider happiness without Allah being right there.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
mutluluk bir insanın huzur içinde, sulh ve sükun içinde,
happiness means the individual to be in peace, in serenity.
sulh ve sükunun sağlık
To have peace and serenity within the inner world,
afetlerinden beri olması,
the individual needs to get rid of all vices of the soul.
gerekir. Allah Teala nefsi bütün afetleriyle insana mal ettikten sonra
As Allah created individual with his soul, also blown into him from his own spirit,
ruhta da o kadar
the same amount of vices in the soul are put as positives within the spirit.
bir insana nefsin afetlerini verdiği zaman o insanın Allah Teala'nın indinde iç dünyasında dengelenmesi lazım.
The individual is always created with a balance within his inner world.
Ona ruh üfürerek
And that balance is provided with negative soul and positive spirit. Soul is full of vices, spirit is full of righteousness, and therefore they are both equal to each other.
İşte insanoğlunun bu dengeyi ruhun hasletleri yerine
And it is us who is going to change that balance, replacing vices of the soul with virtues and making our soul just like our spirit.
Gerçekleştirmesi gerekir. Yani
In other words,
ruhumuzun hasletleri arttıkça
as virtues increase in our soul's heart, it turns just like to be our spirit.
nefsimiz
As the virtues increase,
bu kadar
vices of the soul's heart will be eliminated.
bu mutluluğun giderek yükselmesi
And
demek.
the more virtues means more happiness and joy.
Allah Teala nefs tezkiyesini
And cleansing of the soul made possible for every individual by Allah. Allah Ta'ala says, whomever wishes to reach me, I deliver them to myself.
bir insanın Allah'a ulaşıncaya kadar geçirdiği 7 tane evrede
Spirit goes through 7 stages till it submits to Allah. Within every stage,
konusu olur.
virtues in the soul's heart increase 7% at a time.
Nefsin kalbini
Zikr will increase. As the zikr increases,
değiştirecektir.
virtues will be replacing those vices in the soul's heart.
9 eder 7
7 times 7% virtues means 49%.
rahmet
But the individual also receives 2% mercy initially,
beri devam eder.
and the total makes 51% altogether.
Ne oluyor? 49
49 plus 2,
rahmet nuru
which is 49% virtues and 2% mercy, the total becomes 51% glory accumulation in the soul's heart.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Allah Teala bir denge halinde kişiye bunu vermiş.
Allah Ta'ala wants everything to be in balance,
Nefsin kalbi
and therefore
%49 artı
against vices in the soul's heart, there are righteousness in the spirit. And if we fill our soul's heart with virtues, that will be still balanced in a positive way.
daha çok mutlu olmak istiyorsa
But if the individual is willing to be even more happier,
o zaman
then the individual has to do more zikr.
bu ruhun teslimi olan bu noktada
51% glory accumulation means submission of spirit to Allah. But the individual will not remain there and will also submit physical body to Allah eventually.
Allah'a ulaşabilmesi
Spirit to be able to return back to Allah
dedilik
is based on 7 times 7% virtue accumulation after 2% mercy accumulation.
istemesine bağlıdır. Başlangıçta zaten kişi Allah'a ulaşmayı diler dilemez
As soon as the individual makes the wish to reach Allah, 2% mercy will be accumulated in the soul's heart immediately.
kişinin
At the stages of emmare, levame, mülhime, mutmainne, radiye, mardiye, and teskiye, stages of the soul,
teskiye etmesi lazım.
the soul will be cleansed.
Muhtemelen
Every stage refers to 7% virtue accumulation in the soul's heart.
%7'lik muhtevayı 7 defa gerçekleştirirsek
If we fulfill 7 times 7% virtue accumulation at emmare, levame, mülhime, mutmainne, radiye, mardiye, and teskiye stages,
başlangıçtaki
the individual will have 49% virtues, and with 2% mercy will have 51%
%51
glory accumulation, and that is the cleansing of the soul.
nuru karanlıklardan
That means the glories are more than the darknesses in the soul's heart.
sevgili kardeşlerim
My dear brothers and sisters,
insanoğlu bununla kalıyor mu?
but the individuals should not stay there.
Bir insansa
If the individual is truly on the path of Allah,
te bulunur.
the individual will be asking Allah's help, saying, Almighty Allah,
Herkese verdiğin imkanı
I praise you that you also gave me the opportunity to me as you do to everybody. I made the wish to reach you and you delivered my spirit back to you.
sana ulaşmayı dilediğim andan itibaren
And as soon as I made the wish to reach you,
başlangıcına
you made me your saint.
ruhumu sana hayattayken ulaştırarak
As I rendered my spirit back to you, I had the honor to be a saint whose spirit is sent back to you.
Rabbim bunu sen yerine getirdin.
Almighty Allah, you made that happen because you say, whomever wishes to reach me,
Bana ruhunu ulaştır.
in other words, whomever wishes to render the spirit back to me, I deliver those spirits back to myself.
Ve onu ermiş evliyaya.
And I make them a saint of mine whose spirits are sent back to me.
Hayır.
The individual makes the wish to reach Allah. Is he a saint? No. He finds his religious guide. Is he a murshid? No.
Gerçekleştiği zaman
When he takes a pledge of allegiance to the religious guide, he puts his first step to sainthood.
bu kişi fizik standartlarda Allah'ı zikreder.
Within physical standards, the individual will do zikr of Allah.
Bu 7 defa %7'lik nur birikimiyle
And with 7 times 7% virtue accumulation, aside from 2% mercy accumulation,
7 kere 7
the total glory accumulation will be 51% and spirit will return back to Allah.
nefsinin kalbini %51 nurlarla dolduracak.
With 51% glory accumulation, the individual will be a saint of Allah whose spirit is back to Allah.
%100
Initially, the spirit was full of 100% righteousness in the physical body, and there was also soul 100% full of vices.
hayata
The individual started his or her life in such a balance. But there is a command of Allah.
hayat
Allah Ta'ala says,
bana ulaştı.
you have to render your spirit back to me as you are still living the life of this world.
Bu dünya hayatı
Spirit to be rendered back to Allah as we are still living the life of this world is the basic command of Allah.
Allah Teala Tevrat'ta da
Within the
İncil'de de
Torah,
Kur'an-ı Kerim
Bible, and the Quran,
7 sefer 4 teslimi
Allah Ta'ala obligates 7 stages and 4 submissions upon us all.
bu ayetleri birer birer Allah Teala bize gösteriyor.
And Allah Ta'ala showed me these verses in Torah and Bible as we pinpointed each and every one of them.
4 teslim
7 stages
emredilmiş.
are also commanded in Torah as they were commanded upon
Sonra
Jews.
İncil'de 7 sefer ve 4 teslim
7 stages and 4 submissions are also in the Bible,
emredilmiş.
which was also commanded to Christians.
Kur'an-ı Kerim'de 7 sefer ve 4 teslim
7 stages and 4 submissions are also in the Quran. They are all commanded upon Muslims as well.
sevgili kardeşlerim.
My dear brothers and sisters,
Allah Teala istiyor ki
Allah Ta'ala wants
herkes
everyone
Allah'a ulaşmayı dilesin.
to make the wish to reach Allah
Unsurlar olarak
as the
bunu
basic necessity.
Allah'a ulaştırmayı
Make the wish to render the spirit back to Allah as they are still living the life of this world. What would such a wish mean?
kişinin ermiş evliya olmasını
Such a wish would make that individual to be a saint of Allah whose spirit is sent back to Allah as the individual is still living the life of this world.
çoğuludur.
In Turkish we use word evliya, which is plural of veli.
Dostlar demek
Veli is friend and evliya is the friends.
tekil olarak
But in Turkish we use evliya in a singular form somehow.
kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
çevrenizde bulunan herkese Allah'a ulaşmayı dileyin.
you need to explain to everybody around you to make the wish to reach Allah before death.
Allah'a ulaşmayı
You need to tell them that if you make the wish to reach Allah before death,
bu dileğiniz oluşur oluşmaz
as soon as you have that wish in your heart,
ulaştırmayı
Allah will also make the wish to deliver you to Himself.
7-8 aylık
And within 7 to 8 months of a time frame, Allah certainly delivers your spirit back to Himself.
iyi ama bunun gerçekleşmesi için benim zikir yapmam
Well, for that I have to do zikr. I need to increase my zikr, you may say, which is very natural.
göreceksiniz ki
And yes, indeed, you have to do that, but you will realize that it is actually Allah increasing your zikr, making you love zikr. Allah Ta'ala says,
bana ulaş.
whomever wishes to reach me, I deliver them to myself.
Öyleyse Allah Teala'nın bu konudaki sözü açık bir gerçeği ifade ediyor.
And that promise is a straight fact. The duty of the individuals is just to make a wish.
Kendisine
And Allah will deliver the spirit of that individual back to himself, as Allah indicates that.
ömrü varsa Allah
If the individual has a 7 to 8 months after making the wish to reach Allah,
ruhunu
then Allah will certainly deliver that spirit back to himself within that time frame.
sevgili kardeşlerim
My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart,
Allah Teala'nın bizlere gösterdiği hedef
what Allah Ta'ala wants for each and every one of us is very
için
cut and clear.
kesindir. O bizlerin sonsuz mutluluklara ulaştırmak.
Allah Ta'ala wants us to have infinite happiness.
Ruhun teslimini farz
Therefore, Allah, who obligates submission of spirit,
farz kılmış.
before that also obligates submission of physical body, submission of soul, and submission of free will.
Ama bir insanın
Yet, someone to be saved of hellfire
o kadar kolay
is based on a very easy reason.
herkes cehennemden kurtulabilir.
And with that, anybody can be saved of hellfire with the help of Allah.
Gerçek anlamda
Those who are truly wishing to reach Allah before death,
da ölse
if that individual dies right after that wish, that individual never goes to hellfire.
birinci katı.
That individual makes the first heaven.
Ama bu kişi yaşıyorsa
But if the individual lives longer,
eşit sevgisi verir.
then Allah will certainly give the love of religious guide, murshid, to that individual,
Tabi olacak.
and the individual will seek that individual, will take a pledge of allegiance to him, and along with pledge of allegiance, the individual will be entitled to second heaven.
Peki sonra
How about after that? After that,
ruhunu
Allah will deliver the spirit back to himself
o kişiyi üçüncü kat
and entitle the individual to third heaven.
nefsinin kalbindeki hasletler
At this point,
7 kere 7
the individual will have 51% glories in the soul's heart.
her kademede
At every stage, at Emmare, Levame, Mülhime, Mutmainne, Radiye, Mardiye, and Teskiye stages, within these 7 stages, there will be 7%
bu kişi
virtue accumulation at each stage.
nefsinin kalbinde %49
That means there will be 49% virtue accumulation.
Allah'a ulaşmayı dilediği anda
When the individual made the wish to reach Allah, Allah also put 2% mercy in that individual's heart, and therefore the heart will have 49% virtues and 2% mercy.
ve
That means
Allah'a ulaştığı için
the individual spirit will return back to Allah with 51%
ama
glories, and the individual will not have the spirit, but there is still a balance in that individual.
ermiş evliya olmuştur kişi.
And the individual became a saint of Allah, whose spirit is sent back to Allah,
Dostu
a friend of Allah.
ve sevgili kardeşlerim
And my dear brothers and sisters,
herkese
Allah Ta'ala
kapıları açmış.
keeps the doors wide open for every individual, stating, make the wish to reach me.
Siz böyle bir dileğin sahibi olacaksınız.
You will just make that simple wish, and I'll deliver that spirit back to myself.
Sizi üçüncü
and I'll give third heaven to you, and I'll give you half of the world happiness because of that. I'll reward you with third heaven and with a half of the world happiness. My dear brothers and sisters, whoever is seeking even more happiness, that individual has to go through the steep hell and submit physical body and soul afterwards to have higher level of happiness. When the individual gets to continuous zikr, will start having 100% happiness. That individual is in continuous zikr stage. Then will get into tasbih stage of zikr. My dear brothers and sisters, within such a context, individual who is in continuous zikr becomes one of the most beloveds of Allah. There are no more vices in the soul's heart. That individual cannot harm anyone. Could there be people who harm him? Yes, indeed. But he cannot harm anyone. Even to those who harm him, he cannot harm. Allah gives them the power to forgive them even. My dear brothers and sisters, Allah is the one who rewards and punishes. Allah Ta'ala wants everyone to be happy and joyous. And the individual to make the wish to reach Allah means opening the doors of happiness, one, and doors of heavens. Just one single wish, saying that, Almighty Allah, I'm willing to render my spirit back to you before that. Please, make that happen. Individual who makes that wish from the heart, he is entitled to first heaven. If that wish is from the heart, then the individual will be seeking a religious guide, because he will have that love of religious guide in his heart, and he will perform necessity prayer, Salatul Hajah, and ask a religious guide from Allah. To everyone who makes the wish to reach Allah, Allah will certainly show them their religious guide, their murshid. The individual will certainly find that murshid, religious guide that Allah shows. And the individual who's pure in his wish will certainly have the love of religious guide and will find him and take a pledge of allegiance to him. If the individual dies after pledge of allegiance, he is already entitled to second heaven, but the spirit is still in the physical body. He dies and his spirit leaves. But if the individual lives and carries on, as soon as he takes a pledge of allegiance to a murshid, spirit will leave the physical body and join the group of spirits to return back to Allah. The individual will increase his or her zikr at that stage. His increasing zikr will make spirit go through first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh of the heavens. At the seventh of the heavens, spirit will go through 7 worlds from left to right. And at the 7th world, with a vertical journey, it will reach Allah and it will disappear in Allah from Sidratul Muntaha. My dear brothers and sisters, friends of my life, friends of my heart, that is the process for every spirit. And that means the individual became a saint of Allah, whose spirit is sent back to Allah. Sent back to whom? Sent back to Allah. What reaches Allah? What is sent back to Allah? It is the spirit that belongs to Allah. Initially, as soon as we were born, Allah had blown into us from His own Spirit,
Dediği hiç kimse
there is no human being who wouldn't receive that Spirit
Allah Teala'nın adaletsizlik
at the
yapması
birth.
hiçbir zaman
Allah cannot be unjust.
olamaz. O adaletin
Allah is the owner of justice.
adalet Allah'ın %100 sağladığı, oluşturduğu bir müessese.
Justice is something that Allah provides to everyone without any exception.
Mutlu eder.
Allah is the one who loves and who makes happy in His fairness.
Malzemelerini yerine getiren
Within normal conditions, those who fulfill commands of Allah, Allah wouldn't like them to suffer or
Allah Teala'nın
to be stressful.
kanunları ne ekersen onu biçer.
Allah's rule is what goes around, comes around.
Başkalarına kötülük eden
Whoever is harming others,
davranır.
they will be punished.
Kim Allah'ın kanunlarını hiçe sayıyorsa
Whoever is considering Allah's rules not to exist,
Allah'ın değil şeytanın dostudur.
that means they are not the friends of Allah, but friends of Satan.
O insanlar hep başkalarına kötülük edebilecek vasıflarını taşırlar.
And they constantly live to harm other people,
Karşılığında da
and with every negative thing, Allah will certainly make them suffer.
dikkat edin sevgili kardeşlerim.
If you pay attention, my dear brothers and sisters,
Onu üzebilecek olan bir davranış yapmışsanız
if you did something wrong to another individual, you will feel that in your inner world, as Allah will bother you in your interior world.
azabı diyor.
Allah Ta'ala calls that conscious.
Öyleyse ne yapmamız lazım? Bu azabı yaşamamak için
In order to avoid that
herkesi
bothering of our conscience, we have to live to make others happy. And that is the basic command of Allah.
başkalarını mutlu etmek sadedinde harekete geçmek.
Everyone to work to make others
Bu
happy.
alınca hangi
Once people have that joy, and what joy is that?
yaşatırsa
Whenever you make another individual happy,
kişiye de
Allah Ta'ala will give same amount of joy and happiness to that very individual.
sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
başkalarını mutlu etmeye adarsanız
then if you dedicate your lives to make others happy with every good behavior that you give to them, you will experience happiness and joy as you are having them go through.
etrafınızdaki kişiler çok.
There are so many people around you.
Her birine onları mutlu edecek bir şey yaparsanız
If you do something nice to each and every one of them,
mutluluğu yaşayacaktır sizin.
they will go through that joy and happiness because of your nice behavior to them,
Mutluluğun toplamını
but you will have the cumulative of every individual's happiness.
neden kin?
Then why holding grudges? Why hatred?
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
kin ve nefret bütün
grudge and hatred
Allah Teala tarafından yasaklanmıştır.
is what Allah wants you to give up upon.
İnsanların kinlerini ve
On the flip side, Satan encourages grudge and hatred for every individual.
bulmaya çalışır ki
He constantly whispers to every individual, telling them,
sen de ona
he did something wrong to you, you need to put him into his place, you need to take revenge.
ya da karşıdaki kişi hiçbir konuda kabahatli değil,
Or the other individual may not be guilty of doing anything purposefully, but Satan will still promote hatred between the two.
kendisiyle beraber
He wants everyone to go to hellfire
ama
along with him.
Allah'a bağlamış,
But Allah has a condition
onları sevaplarından
whose
fazla olursa
negative points are more than their positive ones, they go to hellfire.
günahlarından
Yet,
fazla olursa
whose merits are more than their sins, they will certainly go to heaven.
Öyleyse her gün elinize
Therefore, you have so many opportunities every day
sevgili kardeşlerim başka insanlara
to make another person happy.
bu kadar mı hepsi?
But that's not all.
Yaptığınız bütün ibadetler
Every religious service you fulfill will cause you to gain positive degrees. Performing prayers, fasting, giving alms, going pilgrimage, shahade,
bunların hepsi
doing zikr, all these will make you gain positive degrees.
Allah'a ulaşmayı dileyen bir insan
Individual who wishes to reach Allah
Teala'dan derhal yardım almaya
will constantly start receiving the help of Allah.
Allah Teala hacet namazını kıldığı zaman
And when that individual performs necessity prayer, Allah will certainly show a religious guide that is for that individual.
kendisine gösterdiği mürşid
And
nerede olursa olsun
doesn't matter where that individual is, the individual should find that religious guide and should take a pledge of allegiance to him. In other words, kiss his hand and take a pledge.
o mürşid de kendi mürşidine
And that religious guide is the one who initially took a pledge of allegiance to his religious guide, which went back all the way to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
öyleyse sevgili kardeşlerim
My dear brothers and sisters,
Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem'den başkalarına geçen o tabiyetlerin bugünkü
as pledge of allegiance started with our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and came all the way to our time.
bugünün Allah dostlarısınız.
And you are the friends of Allah of this era.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
Allah dostlarına verilen isim sahabe kelimesidir.
the word Sahabe,
Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve sellem,
companions, are the friends of Allah.
sahabe toplanmış.
Companions were around our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They all made the wish to reach Allah.
Peygamber Efendimiz sallallahu aleyhi ve
They all took a pledge of allegiance to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
sellem Allah'a ulaştırdılar.
They all rendered their spirits to Allah. Some become martyrs
Allah'a ulaştırdılar.
when their spirits
Fizik vücutlarını teslim ettiler.
didn't reach Allah, but after that some submitted their physical bodies to Allah.
Ruhlarından sonra fizik vücutlarını
Some even submitted their
devrede şey
souls to Allah.
bir kısmı
And even some also submitted their free wills to Allah. And of course, many of them become martyrs on that path.
sevgili kardeşlerim
My dear brothers and sisters,
bizden sizin mutlu olmanızdan başka
Allah Ta'ala doesn't want anything else but your own happiness and joy. Every command of His is a tool for your happiness and joy.
emridir. Başkalarına yaptığınız her güzel davranış
Every beautiful thing that you do to others, every time you make another individual happy, makes you gain positive degrees. As you make them happy,
nedir?
and what is the result of that?
En güzel davranışlarla cevap.
That means for them to do nice things towards you, which will increase your happiness as a blessing of Allah.
Öyleyse hayat başkalarına yardım ettikçe başkalarına
Therefore, life will have more meaning and happiness as you help and be good to other people.
bir muhteşem ağaç.
That is a magnificent design of Allah.
Sevgili kardeşlerim,
My dear brothers and sisters,
evvela onlar bana yardım etsin.
if you say, first they should help me, then I'll help them,
Bir insanı şeytanın korkunç bir şekilde aldatır.
that means the individual is in deception of Satan. That means the individual will wait throughout his life others to do something right to him. He's not going to do anything right, but he's going to expect others to do for him to do something nice. What for? They're not going to be examples to us.
Biz onlara
We will be examples to others.
Allah'ın dostu demek
Friend of Allah means those who are examples to others.
örnek olmak
And being examples
içerisinde
within the design of Allah is for every friend of Allah.
kim Allah'a ulaşmayı dilerse
Whomever makes the wish to reach Allah, that is the individual who put the first step of being an exemplary individual,
kazanacak.
then Allah will bring that individual to the love of religious guide. The individual will find him and take a pledge of allegiance to him, and the spirit will certainly leave the physical body.
Bu noktadan itibaren
From that point on,
bir devre
7 to 8 months,
zikri
the zikr of the individual will increase gradually, and spirit will go through first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh of the heavens. At the seventh of the heavens, from left to right, it will go through 7 worlds.
kafa geçirecek ve 7. ulaştığı yerden
And at the 7th world, with a vertical journey from Sidrat al-Muntaha, the spirit will reach Allah.
zikir hücrelerinde zikrini tamamlaması
Zikr will be completed in zikr cells, and from Sidrat al-Muntaha, spirit will return back to Allah and disappear in Allah. Everything is so wonderful, my dear brothers and sisters,
öylesine güzel bir şekilde
as Allah created and designed everything within their perfection. And it is not possible not to admire that.
o Allah
That is Allah
hepinizi çok seviyor.
loves you all very much.
Bu çok sevdiği insanı mutlaka ruhunu kendisine ulaştırmasını emredip
And commands every individual to render the spirit back to Allah before that for their own happiness.
biz İslam dini
Our religion is the religion of Islam,
aynı kökten gelen teslim kelimesine bağımlıdır.
which is the word coming from teslim. As al-amrud,
Bir insanın
teslim
Allah'a
means submission, submitting spirit to Allah,
bir
that's one.
teslim
Submitting physical body to Allah, 2.
nefsini teslim
Submitting soul to Allah, 3.
iradesini de
And submitting free will to Allah, 4.
bu 4 teslim 7 safhada
And these 4 submissions take place within 7 stages,
ifade eder.
and every stage refers to a level of heaven.
Birinci kat cennete gider Allah'a
First, individual who wishes to reach Allah and dies after that is entitled to first heaven. If he lives, takes a pledge of allegiance, if dies after that, he is entitled to second heaven.
mürşidine mutlaka
If he lives, he will certainly take a pledge of allegiance to Murshid. Spirit will leave the physical body along with pledge of allegiance. It will go through 7 of the heavens, and it will reach Allah, and the individual will be entitled to third heaven.
sonra fizik vücudunu Allah'a teslim edecek.
Then will submit physical body to Allah and will be entitled to fourth heaven.
Sonra nefsini
Then will submit soul to Allah, will be entitled to fifth heaven.
muhlis olacak.
Then will become a muhlis one, pure one, and will be entitled to sixth heaven.
Allah'a
Then will also submit free will to Allah and will be entitled to seventh heaven.
ve Allah işte siz sevgili
This is Allah, and here is you, my dear brothers and sisters.
bu hedefleri gerçekleştirmek için zaman var.
You still have time to fulfill all these stages,
İkamette kullanın.
and you need to use that time in a positive way.
Tabiyetten sonraki zikriniz ne kadar üst seviyede
After your pledge of allegiance, the more you increase your zikr,
Allah'a ulaşacaktır.
the sooner your spirit will submit to Allah.
Büyük zevki yaşamaları için
And for other people to go through that great joy, you need to explain these to them.
ne kadar mutluluk verici olduğunu
You need to tell them what a great joy the path of Allah is. You need to recommend life in great joy and peace to them.
yaşamak isteyen herkes
And everyone who needs to go through that
olmadığını
joy, they need to understand that there is no second way to that.
Allah'a ruhunuzu ve içinizi
You need to submit your spirit, physical body, soul, and free will to Allah.
bunların hepsi üzerinize farz kılındığı
And
için
all these are obligated upon every individual.
vazifelendirildiniz.
That is a commission on every individual. But Allah Ta'ala loves you all very much that
Bilmeniz bile
Only for you to make a wish to reach Allah is enough for you to be saved of hellfire.
Bu büyük hakikati anlatmaya çalışın sevgili.
Try to explain this great fact to every individual.
Dileyen bir kişi mutlaka
Individual who wishes to reach Allah is certainly free of hellfire.
gerçekten Allah'a ulaşmayı dileyip dilemediğini
Will they know if they are truly wishing to reach Allah or not? Of course.
dileyen bir
Because those who are truly wishing to reach Allah, Allah Ta'ala will give the love of religious guide to them.
namazını kıldıracaktır.
Then the individual will perform necessary prayer. The individual will do that with great joy, and Allah will show the religious guide to that individual.
Mürşidine ulaşacak.
Then the individual will find that religious guide and will take a pledge of allegiance to him. Along with pledge of allegiance, spirit will leave the physical body, and Allah will deliver that spirit back to himself. The individual made the wish to reach Allah in the first place, but the individual didn't render the spirit back to Allah. Allah delivered that spirit back to himself. That's how much Allah loves you all.
Sonra fizik vücudun teslimi.
Then submission of physical body, soul, and free will.
Ama daha Allah'a ulaşmayı dilediği anda
But as soon as the individual makes the wish to reach Allah,
hak etmiş.
the individual is entitled to heaven. My dear brothers and sisters, one single wish and salvation.
Allah Teala istiyor ki
Allah Ta'ala wants everyone
herkese
to know these facts. That's why you need to explain these to other people.
onların her birini kurtarmak
Tell them to save each and every one of them
büyük ölçüde
is a reason for you to gain positive degrees.
insanı kurtarır.
Therefore, the more people you can save, higher level of heaven you can make. Asking Allah to grant upon you infinite happiness. Asking that from the Almighty, I finish my statements at this point. May Allah bless you all.
Esselamu aleyküm ve rahmetullah ve berekatuhu.